Doesn't that intro just get you every time? Anyways, hey-o, how's it going, DATV viewers? Christian Ramos here, and I am the host of Boss It. You are watching episode 6 of the show. Now, a common topic I wanted to talk to you guys about today is time. Something people say we're all running out of. They say you should live your life to the fullest. Personally, I think I've achieved that goal already. Man. But all joking aside, time itself is a precious and valuable thing, something we should not waste. Although some people also take time for granted. I think, when you realize time and space is just like a curved thing, you eventually realize that if you talk to people for more than 28 minutes or so, do you think you've wasted time? The answer is, we can't tell. There is not enough evidence to prove that there is a definite answer to that question. And if you're a couple scientists in the audience or time management people, then applause to you, but the truth is there is not enough evidence in the world alone to make sure that we can get a definite answer as to are we wasting time or not. But I think if the truth be known, it all depends on a standpoint of which you come from. Because once you see the standpoint that which you've established for yourself, things become a lot easier, as it were. But there are but there's not just time itself, there's also a couple times, a couple moments. Like, a good moment for you would be the moment you got a hole-in-one in a golf tournament, or the first time you saw your baby sister. Now, like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I got a sister who's 6, and let me tell you, the first time I saw her, it was one of those moments, it was one of those moments that are just priceless, impossible to replace. I mean, you could live for if not an octillion years, and that moment could still not be replaced. That is what I find the best amount of time. So back to the question at hand. If you talk to people and they end up ignoring you, do you think you've wasted time? Or can you think about that at all? The real question is, can you think about it at all? Because, like I said, time and space are just curved. So it's hard to tell whether the time-space continuum is actually being wasted or is it actually being contained. And I use the word contained because there is actually no way to contain it. But we all have our own versions of time that we spend. I mean, I'm spending 28 minutes talking to you guys, so. But time itself, it's a valuable thing. Like I said, something we shouldn't waste. I mean, look at me. I could be climbing Mount Everest right now. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't abandon you guys. I have a love for my viewers. Not in that way, but I care about viewers. So, another thing is there a kind of time that you would consider your time? Well, like I said, not enough evidence to make a definitive answer. So we can just pop that question right in the box. But I think another question would be, why are there so many different time zones? Why does New York have 5 minutes subtracted, and why does, Beijing have 2? Well, the answer is it's because they're all different states. And in return, states, countries, and you get the picture. But the reason for all those different time zones is because that they're all on different halves of the Earth. As any geologist and I think high schooler knows, the Earth is divided into 2 separate hemispheres, the northern and the southern. Some of the states are on the northern, others are on the southern. But the one thing I find out is that almost a 30-to-1 ratio, if not a 60-to-1, is up on the northern hemisphere. And that's just a couple country states and who knows, maybe even state capitals alone. While the southern hemisphere doesn't get much luck. But that's the Earth for you. we weren't created equal. And before even all these states, we were pretty much merged into one big supercontinent, which I believe is called, oh yeah, Pangea. Yeah, there it is. That's the word. But back then, we were all in one time zone. We knew to get up in the morning as pretty much like clockwork, of which I found quite incredible. But now, as the continents move further and further apart, and they'll eventually collaborate once again to the supercontinent Pangea Neo, maybe? I don't know. I can't predict the future. I'm no Swami. But if I could, I think we'd know what to go on. Most likely, we'd still have a couple, I don't know, say a couple different time zones, but still we'd be together. Probably in close quarters, but hey, that's a supercontinent for you. But another thing I wanted to talk about is, I mean, we're all for the time segment of the show. Matter of fact, I spent like 5 minutes talking to you guys about that. Time jokes. They're good, aren't they? But anyways, another thing I wanted to talk about is recognition. Actually, no, I'll save that for the end of the show. Another thing I wanted to talk about is, what's the word? Yes, upgrades. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh no, he's gonna branch off into video games. But no. Hear me out here. We all can get upgrades in real life. Like, say your laptop's a bit out of date and you want a new laptop, easy, just pay the money, easy as that. Or say if you have like an outdated disk drive and you need to get it replaced, just pay that. Just like video games, there is always money that has to be paid for upgrades. The likes of which, if we didn't have jobs, we wouldn't be able to get. But hey, that's pre-inflation. Speaking of, another thing I want to talk about is inflation. And what's the big deal with it? Well, the answer is inflation. Inflation was like, it's one of those things that turn a dollar into what it actually is, anything more than a dollar. But back in like the 1880s or 1870s, a dollar could have been equivalent to a bar of gold. Now I know what you're thinking. How exactly did you get that idea? Well, I have my ways and my reasons. But before inflation, a dollar or a quarter or pretty much anything, I swear, if you had $20 on you before the inflation, people would think that you were rich. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that's shallow thinking. But hey, that's the way time dictated things. But yeah, inflation, time, all this stuff. Now you may be thinking, what do those two topics have in common? Well, the answer is the 1870s to 80s were a time before inflation had started. Back then, you could have a gold bar and everyone would act like you had found, I don't know, a whole diamond mine. But now, a gold bar is just worth a gold bar. That's the one thing that's always confused me. But hey, if it's confused you, Vers, I guess I cleared it up to my standards. Alright, another thing I wanted to talk about today is joy is what you do. Everyone has something that makes them happy. Like, say you're a musician, you're an artist, or maybe even like me, you're a TV host. People have something that they do that brings them joy in their lives, and that of which I really love to see. There should be more joy in the world and less strife. People should not give up as much. I find that a bit incredible that people have given up so much, not because I find it a good thing, but also because they didn't realize how so close they were to success before they gave up. The way I see it, they shouldn't have given up in the first place. But if they hadn't given up, we wouldn't be where we are today, constantly being relentless in searching for our next cure to, like, I don't know, breast cancer or something. And another thing, breast cancer is, well, celebrated worldwide. And I say celebrated because people do like walks and runs and bikes and that kind of stuff, like 4Ks, 5Ks, to try to find a way to end that stuff, of which I think should have happened at least a week or a year ago. But the way I see it, what's one voice like mine can do in like a situation like this? I mean, We've all got a few worldwide phenomena out there, the likes of which I don't even know if we can control. But we all have the things that we do that bring joy to us. And you may be wondering, what do you find joy in? Well, the answer is I find joy in helping people realize their goals. I find joy in just pretty much helping anyone with what they need. As long as it's in my mind range, call me shallow, but I'm crazy. But I find it like a sort of uplifting exhilaration where I can, for once, or rather for pretty much the rest of my life, be great to others. Not just this day, but pretty much every other day. Because I find doing something nice for a person to be quite the incredible thing to think about. Because you truly bring forth a new era of eventually you'll be able to get help from pretty much, I don't know, an AI or something. I mean, nowadays technology itself, you can get like a couple clicks and you're good to go anywhere. You get like new answers and whatever. But the one thing that you always have is joy in what you do. It's something you take pride in. A job you have, a thing you do, a hobby you have. No matter what, you should always find at least a little bit of joy in it. Because who knows, that joy could help. Anyways, what else here? Let's talk companies. Dell, Apple, Windows. I mean, that's just a few of my favorite computers. I mean, I've used a Dell computer since I was like 8 or something, but it's not a surprise there. But I've never used an Apple computer before. So sorry, Ron, if that offends you, but sorry. But I was never the type to go for Mac users. So sorry, Mac users, if you're out there, sorry about that. But I was never the type to go for Mac because they're like majorly complicated to me. Personally, I'm a Windows man myself, but then again, can I truly be blamed? More and more people are using Windows every day, so it's not a surprise that it catches on like a worm on a hook, as it were. Seriously, why am I using that? But in any case, people have things that they catch on to. It's like a door handle. Once you open the door, new life awaits. But you need the handle to make sure you can open it. Now you may be thinking, what does that mean? Well, the answer is it's because, think of yourself as a door handle. And there's a door that you want to turn. Like there's like the latches or something that you want to turn. And you want to enter a new world, or rather a new era for yourself. A self-responsible era, as it were. So you want to find out some way to open that door, but you can't because you're the handle. That's why you always have the things that you do in life. Because you always make sure that you have a joy in what you do. You take pride in what you do. I mean, I'm 6 episodes into, who knows, a YouTube famous TV show? But since then, ever since the pilot episode, it's pretty much been like a magnet for me. On both sides. North and South, they've all been working around the clock to find me the pros and cons of the show. And I think, if the truth be known, the pros seriously outweigh the cons, of which I think is quite the good thing here. Because you make sure that you have the things that you do, and you always make sure to take up joy and a burning pride and a passion in them that pretty much no one else but you can match. And that brings me to my 4th topic today. You viewers. I just want to say that you all have the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, but the fact that you can take time out of your busy day to watch this show, I find that quite heartfelt, because most of the things I've had are pretty much like ridiculous. I mean, I've done like bad paintings on Microsoft Paint, but hey, I'm not deprecating myself here. I've got a good personality, but it's not about, well, technically it is since I'm the host of the show, but I think something that I'd want to bring up here, thanks to the graphic, is that we've all got our ways to boss through something. We've all got our ways to make sure that whatever is in front of us, with the right amount of perseverance and determination, it can get done. The likes of which cannot be matched by anyone that we do not know, that we do, opposite word being, do not. If we know the person that which is trying to help us, then of course we allow them to help. I'm not saying I've been living with that logic for years now, but I find it hard to believe that one day I'll have to work on that one day I'll have to do things on my own. But I say that you do that which you have, and you always make sure that you take a joy and pride in it and a passion that only can be matched by that of your family or friends, or who knows, maybe your aunts, uncles, maybe even your cousins for all I know. But I think, to sum it up, you truly have ways to bring forth a new era, a self-responsible era, as I've said, that only you can control. You're pretty much like the ruler of a self-era. Because it's like, think like the 300 and Leonidas. I mean, in 2 weeks he managed to whittle down an entire army from 900 to 1. I'm not gonna lie. 300, so few going up against so many. That's huge. And that brings me to my fifth topic for today, willpower. Everyone has their own amount of willpower that they show because they know that it can get them through that which is in front of them. Be it an obstacle in a hurdle jump, giving you the exact moment of power to throw a javelin far enough to win the match, or who knows, maybe even that last second tennis spike you need to get that final point in, just before the buzzer goes, of which I think is quite a good thing. Because everyone has their own amount of willpower that they have to make sure that their job gets done. Maximum efficiency, and what's another one? Yes. Maximum metness. And the reason I say metness is because that there's always a few different guidelines that you have to beat. Because everyone has their own guidelines that they have, and believe it or not, there are some self-started businesses out there that still follow their guidelines. But the real concept of willpower is because that you have the willpower inside of you. It's like a cheat code that'll never run out of uses. But all joking aside, willpower itself is a true force that drives a person forward, well, unto dawn, as it were. But it also drives a person forward to make sure that whatever's in front of them, they get that done. Of which I find willpower to be quite an incredible power itself. It's something you don't normally expect, but it was something that they would think of. And by they, I of course mean pretty much anyone I know. I mean, there's my family, my friends, and even the DATV crew. They've been working with enough willpower to get this show going, so like I said, props to you guys. But that's the very idea of willpower. You've got to make sure, well actually no, this gives you the security that you need to make sure that A, your job gets done to the maximum efficiency, B, all guidelines are met, and C, satisfaction is guaranteed. That's pretty much the 3 core values for this show. But the way I see it, it's a great thing because you cherish that which you've done. Be it a painting in Microsoft Paint, a musician's piece like wrote when you were 6 or something, or who knows, maybe even a TV show like this. But you cherish that which you've made. But you cherish that which you've made happen. The likes of which you maybe will or will not find again. But when you do find it, make sure to hold on to it with all your strength, because it could slip out of your hands one day. But I got the slightest feeling for all you DATV viewers that one day might never arrive. Because you all dedicate yourselves to a true job in life. But there's always one question we've been asking, or rather two. And they are, have I done enough? Or can I do more? Always ask yourself, can I do more? And if you say, I can, then you're clearly off to a good start in life. If not a good beginning. If not, maybe even you're already halfway there and you're still living it, and you're still living it to the fullest, of which it rightfully should be lived, as I know. Because you all bring forth a new generation for yourselves. I got the slightest feeling that when your kids are grown up, they'll look back in time and they'll say, man, our parents were great. I mean, I'm not even fully grown yet. No, I'm serious, like 15. And I still think my parents are the best I've ever gotten. Sure, my family's crazy, but look, they care for me, as every one of our families does, with the best that they can, if not all that they can. Because they do what they can, no, what they will do, to truly help us in our hour of need, our hour of want, or even that which we deserve or do not deserve. Our families fight for that. They make sure that we have a good future. Because that they love us. They've always cared for us. They always have and they always will. So that of which I think is quite a good thing, because they care for us and they'll care for us till the end of time. Yeah, that's dedication, man. Anyways, another thing I wanted to talk about today is determination. We all have it, we all use it, and we always make sure that which we do is the best of it. Because it's the kind of thing we don't think about nowadays, but when we make sure that we do it, we always make sure that it's done right. Because, we always think that which we didn't really think of, but once we think about it, it drives us insane, because we know that it can always be done right in any way possible. Because we all have our willpowers. We all have the determination that which is required to get the jobs that are in front of us done. We all have a determination to leap that hurdle, throw that javelin, write that final sentence, type it, who cares? The point is, when you get this done, you always make sure that it's done right. We always have the things that we do, and believe it or not, they're crazy, they're insane, or at least they may seem both. But at the end of the day, if you have a job done, is it really done, or is it just beginning? Now I know what you're thinking. Man, he's getting mad philosophical here. Well, the reason I'm doing so is because that whenever you have a job done, there's always millions more that you gotta do, but in the end, there's always more opportunities. And that's the final word I wanted, well actually no, this is the second to final word I wanted to bring up today. The word opportunity. We've all heard the phrase opportunity knocks. I'm sure you have. But we all have our ways in our days that we do things whether we want them to be done or not. But I think when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's about a good thing, because dedication, it's just crazy. Determination always brings us forward, always shines us through in the darkest light. Where there's dark, there's always a flashlight. And that flashlight is your own determination to drive you forward, complete the task that which is in front of you. Like I said, leap that hurdle, throw that javelin, make sure everything is done. But I think, in the end, it's you. It's always been you DATV viewers that have that determination, that have that willpower, that have the dedication to propel yourselves forward. No cross promos, we're not interested. But we all have our days and our ways of getting things done. But when we get them done, we feel so accomplished, be they a hard task, an easy task. It's hard, it's crazy, it's insane, it's dedication, it's determination, it's you. It's always been you DATV viewers. I made this show to appeal to you DATV viewers. You've always shown, not just me, but thousands of other people in your lives, that just by doing one thing, you could start a whole new revolution of others. They always say, the journey of 1,000 steps begins with one. And I've always made sure that that is my logic. Whatever they could think of, it's always been my logic. Because I've stuck with that logic till the end of time. And I don't know why, but it's worked for me. But I think if you stick to that logic, it'll always work for you. What can I say? But when you think about that which is in front of you, and you think, but in the end of the day, you've got to ask yourself, can I do this? No. You should ask yourself, should I do this? If it's a goal you have, go for it. Be it to finish that final project, leap that javelin all the way across the field, whatever. If you've got determination and dedication to get through it, I say go for it. And that brings me to my final word today. Ready for this? I'm just trying to be dramatic here because I'm trying to leave you guys in suspense. The final word today is friendship. We've always had it, we'll always have it. We've got our friends, be they across the country or not, or maybe even right where we live. We'll always make sure that we've got our friends. They've brought us through our times as a child, and we can always make sure to bring forth a good time for them. Because they care for us and we care for them. And at the end of the day, that's really what friendship is. So yeah, 6 compassionate words, 1 shell. Anyways, we got 22 seconds here, so I'd like to give a special thanks once again to the DATV crew, and especially to all you DATV viewers, especially to my family and friends. Anyways, if any of you guys are watching this, I hope you enjoyed. And this is Christian Ramos, and you've just been bossed. So long, viewers, and I'll catch you in episode 7.